What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Now, this video, I'm going to be breaking down the top NoFap / semen retention benefits. These are practices that I have practiced and pretty much built my whole entire YouTube channel off was semen retention and NoFap. If you go back to my very first videos, that's what I did, and it was something that insanely helped me become more confident, really just gave me a stepping stone in my personal development and gave me that bridge that gap from being someone who was depressed, sad, anxious, and bridge that gap to be someone who's confident, charismatic, and crushing their goals and ambitions in life. So that leads me on to the first point, which is confidence and charisma and social skills. These are things that come with doing semen retention and NoFap. The reason for this has a lot to do, there's many different reasons for this. One of the main ones is dopamine. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that when watching porn and masturbating, it gets released in the brain in an amount that is over, almost to the level of things like cocaine. So your brain is getting hit with levels of dopamine that force the receptors that receive the dopamine and actually process it in the body to have to downregulate, and essentially, in order to kind of be able to handle the amount of dopamine, it has to downregulate, which then causes other things that don't stimulate dopamine as much, such as maybe drinking your coffee or maybe walking your dog or listening to a piece of music. Because these receptors have downregulated, that hit of dopamine that should make that piece of music entertaining is no longer as stimulating. And what this does is it leads you to desire things that are very stimulating in order to feel. So it could be a McDonald's, some big Five Guys burger. It could be porn and masturbation and things of that nature, things that are very overstimulating, and it takes away those small pleasures in life. But that is the reason why it increases confidence, because dopamine is also associated with confidence, social skills, mental sharpness. And a big element of that is your eye contact. When you're doing NoFap, one thing that everyone will say is your eye contact improves because it's all to do with shame. When you're doing shameful acts, what you have to ask yourself if you're not doing NoFap is the things that you are doing, would you do them in the light? Would you do them in the broad of daylight? If you made every single thing you did in your life that's something you could do in broad daylight when everyone's watching, you are living in and people wouldn't, and you wouldn't feel shameful for doing it. You would go about your life with a much more pure energy about you, because all these actions are pure things. It's only things that we're shameful of that we hide away. That's what shame is. We tend to, when we feel shameful, not be able to hold eye contact, because the eyes are the gateway to the soul. And people will look into your eyes and their spirit knows that you're doing things of shameful actions. So when you actually cut out these negative emotions and these negative things that create shame, what it does is it allows you to feel good, because you're not carrying any shame with you, and it automatically brings you to a higher place of being. So when you walk around, you make eye contact with people on the street, people notice you have a different aura about you, which I'll get into further down. But next is energy, right? You're going to have more energy. You're just going to have more energy. You're going to be able to do more. You're going to be able to push 3-4 more reps in the gym, do a few more exercises. You're able to hammer home on your training. You'll be able to get more things done throughout the day. Focus on your business a bit more. Be slightly more creative. And the reason for this is because your semen essentially is full of nutrients. It's full of life force energy. One drop of semen could literally repopulate the whole of the United States. That's insane to think about. And your body is producing this. And to do that, it takes a lot of energy out of your body. It's not an easy task. Your body is assuming it's going to reproduce. So it can be very taxing on your nervous system. So having that less tax on your nervous system, just the same way when you do a top PR deadlift, it destroys your central nervous system. When you're having sex and ejaculating, and it's specifically the ejaculation, that loss of semen, that is what's causing the central nervous system damage. The actual orgasm itself it can actually be healing to the body. It's just that loss of energy, that spilling of the seed, that is what is depleting you, and you're losing your vitality, right? So that's one thing to think about. Then we have creativity. The next thing is creativity. So when you're doing NoFap, you're able to come up with ideas if you're doing it correctly, because what can happen is a lot of people get their energy stuck, right? It gets stuck in their lower area, their lower dantian, their lower chakras, whatever you want to call it, and there's not that actual flow of the body where they're able to raise that energy like up their spine and into like the higher places in order to draw out creative ideas to focus on their purpose and create crazy cool things, you know, because you're either creating a life or you're creating something. Men are always creating things, so you're either creating life or you're creating you know, things like anything, you know, it's one or the other, but you know, you can't really do both. So if you're constantly ejaculating, you're losing that what could have been creativity in that other aspect of your life, that other thing you're trying to do. And not only that, creativity could be wittiness. You know, you could be in a conversation with potentially a female and you're just able to say the right thing at the right time because your mind is just sharp. You know, you're going to feel mentally sharp. And that will lead me on to the next thing, is the glow, the aura, and the presence. You know, when the Ayurvedic, Indian Ayurvedic medicine, they believed that your semen was one of the most powerful forces, and what it would generate is this energy called ojas, which was like every cell. So there are trillions and trillions of cells in your body, right? And if every cell in your body is operating at, let's say, 40%, it causes the overall body to kind of have a dampening effect. But it's so subtle that, you know, you're not really able to notice it on a you know, it's very subtle. So if every cell in the body is operating 100%, it actually adds almost a layer of paint on you where you have this glow about you, you have this aura about you. You know, when you walk into the room, there is a presence to you. People recognize you. You walk down the street and people just some reason turn their head at you. You don't necessarily know what it is, but it's that aura, it's that presence. You walk with a springier step. You have more confidence. You know, you have a swagger about you that is different. And this is all because of semen retention. This is to do with the hormones and just that vitality, that energy that's in your body. The body wants to reproduce when it's full. You know, when you're full, you know, of your own seed, your body's gonna show signs that it is, you know, I'm an attractive man, like, and it's gonna give that off. And that aura and that presence is what is very noticeable when you're on semen retention. But the next one is awareness, right? So you're gonna be more aware. So it's almost like you've got better vision. Like, you know, if you're a fighter, you'll have just better awareness. You know, your reflexes will be faster. A lot of times when you're relapsing or when you're fapping, whatever, everything becomes quite dark, you know, and you're not as in tune to things. You're a little bit more numbed to your senses. When you're on NoFap and semen retention, your senses become enhanced and heightened, and you just feel quicker, you feel sharp. That's to do with that central nervous system and the energy you have in your body. Next thing is a positive mindset. Like all the neurotransmitters, dopamine, prolactin, serotonin, these things have an effect on how you feel about your life. And doing NoFap and semen retention opens the doors to find what you're truly passionate about, what truly fulfills you in your life, you know, what's your purpose. And that is what the NoFap helps you with, because it gives you discipline, it gives you long-term gratification rather than instant short-term gratification, because you're actually putting that energy into your purpose, building something that's actually meaningful and long-term fulfilling. There's a difference between what's fun and what's fulfilling. So that's the next thing, is like, it just gives you a positive mindset. You start believing in yourself. You start looking at opportunities rather than looking at setbacks. You know, you start seeing, which moves me on to controlled aggression. When you're doing semen retention and NoFap, you're building up a lot of vitality and energy in your body. And if you're naturally a masculine male, you have a natural aggression to you. You know, if a fight breaks out, you know, sometimes you feel this fire that just lights up inside of you. But, you know, due to the fact that you actually have more mental discipline, more self-control, more willpower, this aggression may fire up inside of you, but you actually have the mental bandwidth to be in control and to steer that aggression how you see fit. A lot of people think that testosterone and hormones of these nature cause aggression, make men aggressive, which partially is true, but the real, you know, negative aggression comes from estrogen. It comes from irritability. That hormone it's a negative hormone. It makes people lash out. You know, a real masculine man is calm, he's stoic, he's cool under all situations, but if need be, he's very capable of being a beast and doing what needs to be done. But this is a big factor in semen retention, that controlled aggression and that feeling inside of you, you know, that kind of combat ready feeling. is a lot to do with that. It has to do with the androgen receptors, where the hormones like testosterone and DHT and other downstream hormones bind to these receptors, but these receptors become much more sensitive, just the same way your dopamine receptors become more sensitive. And you have these receptors in your brain too, the androgen receptors, but they become more sensitive when you abstain and you don't, you retain your semen. They become, you have a boost in testosterone. So that's what's the reason for that. And then finally, it's relationships and intimacy. Your relationships with a girl will improve massively, and with friends too. You'll have better attention, better communication skills. You'll have a better charismatic aura about you that people will feel magnetic. You feel you're a magnetic person. But in terms of a relationship with a woman, the reason this improves is because if you're watching pornographic material, she will never be able to fully open herself to you. She'll never be able to fully be in her feminine, because she knows she's one that you're, looking at other women, that makes her feel insecure, makes her feel like she's not good enough, and makes her feel like she has to compete with these women. So she'll never really be able to relax into her feminine and fully open herself to you. And she just can't really, she'll struggle to trust you, and it can really damage your relationship. So it's a very negative thing. And when you cut this out, actually, these things go away. Your intimacy improves. Your girlfriend will be more open and interested in building a sexual, intimate relationship with you, where you can explore and do different things. She'll be much more open to that and willing to do that. And that's kind of what a lot of men want. They want that kind of freedom with their woman. But if they're watching porn, then they're kind of cutting themselves off. You can't really have both. You need to pick one, and you'll basically reap the benefits. But that too, and your intimacy will improve. Your erection quality, your a lot of men suffer with premature ejaculation and things of that nature, because when they're watching porn and masturbating, it's all goal focused. It's all, I want to get to the finish line. It's all about them. It's very self-indulgent. It's all about me. I want to make myself feel good as quickly as possible. And this is when you come to be with a woman, you're actually being very selfish, and the way you want to be is of service. You want to make her feel good. You want to do things that make her feel good before you make yourself feel good. And that is how you make a woman bond to you and have that good connection. So these are some of the benefits of NoFap and semen retention. Now, I'm going to be touching on a lot more of these in the coming future and breaking things down that you've probably not heard before about semen retention. However, I think there's so much to this topic, and I've worked with many guys and I've seen how their life can completely change just by doing something so simple. I truly believe this is the first step to becoming whoever you want to be, to becoming that higher version of yourself. This is literally the first step that gives you the foundation for your whole development as a man as time goes on. So if you did enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe. Please give it a like and let me know what you would want me to talk about in the future. But this has been Ben signing off. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.